Hey there. I just delivered my first speech on the international speaking circuit. I'm Belle from The Root Cause, and I have long been passionate about children's health, but have been looking, how do I break out of the Australian market and share my passion with more of the world? Now, I would never have had the courage or the know-how how to craft a 15-minute talk, which is what I want to do, a TED Talk, without the support of the amazing Laurie-Ann. I have just completed her incredible program, the In-Demand Signature Speech Program, and it gave me an amazing formula to create my signature speech, which I gave a little over a week ago, a full hour presentation speech. And then from that, I was able to customize it and turn it into my 15-minute TED Talk. So I just wanted to share, if you are someone who see that the next progression in your career is to actually do speaking, then the one place that you can go to get the support that you need to kickstart is the In-Demand Signature Speech Program, and you'll be ready to take on the speaking circuit as well. Laurie-Ann, thank you so much for everything that you have done for me, for helping me take that next level.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Welcome, everybody, to this monthly speaker circle. Here we are in April, and it is tax day here in the U.S. Today is the mandatory tax day, and speaking is not mandatory. However, it is smart business for yourself. If you are a coach, a consultant, or a service provider, you are in the right place. This podcast and this speaker circle is all about how to leverage public speaking events for you to get positioned as the expert and also to showcase your business, your expertise, and get in front of your ideal clients. And each month I do this mini training, the speaker circle. Over the weekend, I gave a presentation to a group of podcasters. And because of my background in speaking, they asked me to come in and speak about speaking. I asked the group, what is it that you want to learn about speaking? And the long laundry list of requests. And I said, in 20 minutes, I can't share all of that. I can't knight you all into being professional speakers with only 20 minutes of time. But since they were a group of podcasters, I said, why don't I talk about how to use your podcast to get on more stages. And then when you are on those stages, how to be directing traffic back to that podcast. So for some of you, I would love a show of hands, or you can put right in the chat, how many of you have a podcast? Some sort of regular audio that you're putting out. Gail does. I know Brenda does. And Karen does. Fantastic. And Pam you are starting this week. Congratulations. You get that out there and make sure you tag me, and I will definitely share that with my audience at least. Congratulations. So if you have a podcast, you're going to love some of these tips. And if you don't have a podcast, I want you to consider some form of stage. Now, episode 306 is 30 different types of stages. It doesn't have to be like you walk up a few steps, there's a podium, there's a microphone, there are lights, and people are eating the dry chicken dinner. It doesn't always have to be like that. There are so many different forms of stages for you to be getting on. But I want you to have some sort of content where you are sharing with people. When I first came into the online world, some of my weekly content was I had a Facebook Live show. And I called it a show because it was always Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern. It was always at the same time, just like, anybody remember TV guides? Now we get to binge entire seasons. But once upon a time, you had to wait till the following week. It would say to be continued. And you would wait until next week to actually watch that next episode. Nowadays, you don't have to do that. But to be able to teach our audience that Mondays at 5 is when I show up. It doesn't have to be a Facebook Live. It could be some sort of live streaming. Or maybe you consider, again, your podcast is one of them, or you consider hey, I'm going to do a mini training. I'm going to pre-record some videos And every Tuesday at noon that gets released. And I keep telling people about it. And I keep using it and repurposing it and directing people to it. So it's almost like, here's my stage. And I'm going to be talking about that I'm a speaker. And I'm going to give you some ideas on some content ideas for you to be sharing on that stage. Now, some of what I'm going to share with you today, you're going to be like, some of you are going to be like, I got that, got it, I can put that together. And others, you're going to need to do some planning around getting these pieces in place. So we're all recording some sort of content anyways, whether you're doing your live stream show, whether you're doing your podcast. There could be a way for you to do this as a guest episode on somebody's podcast, but I would be very strategic about whose show you're guesting on to be able to then also direct people to that show. The goal is to get you on more stages, to get you more bookings, and essentially to advertise your speaking kind of like a highway billboard. It is working for you 24/7. And it's another way to promote yourself. I have found that a lot of times with my clients, and even myself when I think back on the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, I had a hard time promoting myself. But I will share with you all that the more that you do this, the easier it gets. And the more that you can learn how to do this very conversational, again, it becomes really easy and you don't feel weird about promoting yourself, about sharing. This past weekend when I was speaking to these podcasters, when they opened it up for the Q&A, it was funny how a lot of these questions I had podcast episodes for. So I could either answer their question in 15 to 30 seconds, or I could direct them to my podcast, to the very specific episode, and for 15 minutes they could take a deep dive into that topic. And it almost sounded funny with every question. At least to me, it sounded funny. Towards the end, I was just like, oh, there's a podcast episode for that. There's a podcast episode for that. And I knew what the numbers were. So I could literally direct people. It's because these are some of the most common questions that people have. So one of them is, raise your hand if you have a speaker page on your website. Okay, I don't see too many hands. All right. For the people who didn't raise their hand, I want you to get a speaker page. Even if you haven't done that much speaking or you're just getting started, I want you to claim it. This is what I want to do. And here's why. Let's just say a friend refers you as a speaker to somebody who is they might be in charge of associations, they might have a mastermind, but somebody has referred them to you. Oh, you should check out Julie. Julie go check her out. She'd be a great speaker for this event. And then they come to your website, no speaker page. Gives off the impression that you're not taking it seriously, that this is not something that you do. Now, it doesn't belong in your About Me section. In your About Me section, yes, you can have some information about you being a speaker, but make sure you have an entire speaker page. So that's where we want to be directing people. So now meeting planner comes, and what do they see on your speaker page? I want them to see 3 different presentation titles. Even if you've never given one before, I want you just to claim them. Here's a couple of titles that I speak on, and give a couple sentences as a description, and then a couple of bullet points, about 3 bullet points that what's the audience going to walk away with? So those are the things. Now, if you want to learn more about your speaker webpage, you can write down, listen to episode 197. It is literally about the 7 essentials that your webpage, your speaker webpage needs to have. So 3 different presentations. So now we're going to talk about your training. So for those of you with podcasts, consider podcast episodes that is basically going to promote you as a speaker. For those of you without podcasts, I want you to think of another way for you to be creating content and take these ideas so that it's promoting you as a speaker. A behind the scenes of what it's like to work with you. And if you're just getting started in speaking, just imagine, like, what's it going to be like to work with you as a speaker? Last fall, I did a complete behind the scenes with a very large insurance company that I did some work for. And so I did this behind the scenes because I want people to know, what's it like if we hire Laurie-Ann to speak? Whether that's just for a mastermind, or maybe it'll be, a competitor of this insurance company. When we bring Laurie-Ann, what's it like? So this episode literally starts off at the interview with the whole committee. Before they've even made a decision, I'm answering some of their questions. They have some questions for me. I have a list of questions that I need to go through so that I can determine, is this a good fit for me? And I also like to customize my proposal for them. So it takes you from that meeting all the way to the meeting that's 2 weeks beforehand, to the meeting that's 2 days beforehand to do a tech check, to then the presentation, to the Q&A that I offered them 2 weeks later, and then also to the meeting where I sat down with them and we got feedback. We discussed the audience feedback, and also just to get them to, one, give me a testimonial. So they already knew this ahead of time. And then also to refer me to 2 to 3 other places. Now, because this company is very protective of their brand, they weren't going to refer me to somebody outside of their company, but their workaround to this part of my contract was, can we refer you to 2 to 3 other places within the company, so different departments. And for me, that was a win-win, so that I could actually do more work for this company. So that's a behind the scenes. Each of those 3 presentations, I want you to do some sort of episode. And I'm going to keep using the word podcast episode, but remember, whatever your content is going to be, do a podcast episode on each of your presentations. And then it's super easy to go into whatever your platform is. For me, it's Captivate that distributes my podcast. And they will give me the code so that I can take that code, or you can just use a link. If you were sending people to a LinkedIn Live, a YouTube video, put it underneath that topic, that speech, that presentation that's on your speaker webpage. So now I'm a meeting planner and I come to your website and I see the 3 different offerings. And then I see 3 different links, whether they're videos or they're podcast episodes, talking specifically about this presentation. I'm a meeting planner. I'm like, I've never met you. Now I get to learn a little bit more about you and about this very particular topic. So another place, like, we're directing people to dive deeper so that when they do contact us, we are the only choice. They're not interviewing 6 or 7 other people. It's just, Kathy, we need to have you, because they've already fallen in love with you. Another idea, so third idea here, is to do case studies. Case studies with your clients, case studies with companies that you've worked for, and again, letting them know, like, hey, I went into this particular company, I did a workshop, this particular entrepreneur, this is how I helped them. It could be like how they found you too. They found me because I was speaking at this particular presentation, which led to them booking a call, which led to us working together. So doing these case studies, but also helping your audience follow the breadcrumbs. And again, you are just sharing that this is what I do. Like, I speak, I coach people one-on-one, I have group programs, and I also have some courses that I offer people. You could interview meeting planners or whoever's booking you. Now, this is one that I haven't done myself. When I was crafting this speech together, this was just an idea that I came up with, and I was like, this actually could be a lot of fun. My solo episodes are about 18 minutes. So I don't think I would need an 18-minute interview with one meeting planner, with one person who booked me. I could put multiple interviews together into one podcast episode. So that's one that I might actually consider doing. The final one that I want to share with you is getting interviewed. This is something that I'm starting to offer like my students inside In-Demand Signature Speech. They're crafting a speech and they're going to be putting this onto their website. And some of them have podcasts and some of them don't. But what if they were interviewed? So I'm offering to be interviewing them. They're going to supply the questions. And it's essentially going to be the same thing as like here's the title. So here's what they speak on. What are people going to learn inside of that presentation? What does the audience walk away with? And then I can also be asking them, well, how is this delivered? Is it delivered in a short period of time, over the course of time? And they might answer, this is a presentation that can be given in 30 minutes, all the way up to 60 minutes. It can also be turned into a half-a-day workshop or a full-day workshop. So having somebody interview you might be something else that you might want to consider. Again, find somebody who's good at interviewing and is also somebody that you're going to feel comfortable with. But this is something that I'm offering my In-Demand Signature Speech students. It's another way for them to promote this. And this video, where do you think we're going to put it? We're going to put it on that speaker webpage. And then you just keep driving people to it. In your email, you might share, hey, I just had this interview. If you want me to interview you, just feel free to reach out. It could be like, hey, Laurie-Ann, would you interview me? And here are my topics. All you got to do is give me those questions and we'll use your Zoom link. So I've given you a bunch of ideas. We're constantly these are just billboards. Let's keep promoting you as a speaker. Stop being a secret. I want you to get out there and get known and have people just oh yeah, Gail's a speaker. We need a speaker. Constantly reminding people. Okay. I know I just gave you a ton of information. I can see Julie has been nodding her head as she's been writing. What questions do you have? Now we'll just open it up to questions. You can feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
Laurie-Ann, hi, this is Gail.
Hi.
So I have a kind of question statement. In the last 6 weeks, I have been on 4 or 5 live TV interviews. I've had my book reviewed by a panel. I did a Meet the Author presentation. And then I am now on the cover of a magazine.
Okay.
And all of that, to me, are speaker opportunities.
Yes.
Okay. I just to me, that's speaker opportunity as well as a group that I run.
Yes. And I would just make sure that you capture all these segments where you've been on TV. Let's capture them and let's put them on a video.
Yes. That's what I was writing down. They're wasted if I don't do something with them. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And even keep them in their short formats by themselves. And you could just have them all as YouTube shorts.
I'll be using
have a playlist of all of your media appearances, and then also have a video that could have them all together. And I would definitely put that onto your website.
Love it. Thank you.
Welcome. Next question. Anybody? Renee, I realize you just kind of came into the room and we were talking about how to use our podcast, or if you have some sort of other content that you are constantly putting out there, different ways to use that to promote you as a speaker. And you're inside In-Demand Signature Speech, so I'll make sure that I share this with you. I'll share the list.
Thank you.
Right.
For me, what I've been doing, honestly, is just trying to be invited on to as many podcasts as I can.
That's a start.
The podcast.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Brenda, did you have a question?
I have a question. I am curious if you have any suggestions about updating Speaker Sizzle Reel. The one I have right now is from 2018. I look at it, I'm like, ugh, I just cringe every time I look at it because I need to update it. And it's probably okay, but I need to update it. And yesterday I just did a bunch of quick video clips of myself, and now I've got to go through and piece it together. I'm just wondering if you or if anyone else in the group here has any suggestions on video editing tools. I want to do it DIY. I want to do it myself just to save some money on it. So I'm just curious if you or anyone else in the group has any suggestions about that.
I don't. I have a team member who does stuff like that, but Gail is raising her hand, so she must know somebody.
I've used a few. I like using Power Director. It's not free, but it's easy to use, and it's got all the bells and whistles if you want. So Power Director 365.
Hey there. I have a thought. Someone suggested to me CapCut, that it's very easy. I haven't tried it yet, and it's free. And it eliminates any pauses in the video. And I heard it's great. CapCut, CapCut.
You're using Camtasia. I used to use Camtasia. I loved Camtasia. Until it changed and didn't work on my Mac anymore. I had bought it as an AppSumo deal and was just in love with it. Other than that, Brenda, I would say to look at other people's speaker reels to also get some ideas on how to, maybe polish yours up a little bit. But I bet it's not that bad. It's just you've looked at it a lot since 2018. And this is also why I tell people, like when you are on stage, to try to wear stuff that doesn't date us. But then again, Brenda, like you have long hair. So I don't know if like once upon a time back in 2018, 2020, that you had short hair. Sometimes our hairstyle can also give us away. Okay, I'm just reading what you're writing in the chat. Who else has a question? Pam. No need to raise your hands. Just unmute yourselves and we're nice and casual here.
Okay, so I'm getting my own and my first 3 to drop. I have 10 recorded for my podcast. And I'm at the point where I'm looking to add like intro and outro music. So I'm looking for something free. And does anyone have a good source that they've been using for the music?
Wait a minute. There's an AI that you can actually do that with. And you might have to reach out to me.
I have also free. There are a couple websites that do free music. I can't remember off the top of my head. If you connect on LinkedIn or send me an email, I'll send you.
I think Adobe does free music.
Okay, here's the AI that will write music for you. And even the words, you just have to tell it what to do. It's Suno, Suno. I've used it. So they do have a free version and also a paid version. So do a little Google search to find out exactly what their URL is, but that's what it is. And that might be handy. Great question, Pam.
Yeah, Lori, and thanks. I'll ask a question. So I have a podcast for women who have been recently promoted. And I love your ideas about doing a behind the scenes or a podcast episode on the topics that I could speak on and that I speak on. Are you suggesting that because I'm not sure it's going to be relevant for my podcast audience. So are you suggesting that I do a one-off recording? I use Captivate, that I could link it to. I'm just trying to clarify if it's for my audience or for a different audience who would potentially be buying speaking.
Well, you never know who's listening to your podcast. Your audience, one of your clients, maybe future potential client, they could be on a committee that's putting together an event. They might have their own mastermind. You just never know. So it's not like we're having these episodes constantly, but I want you to record them so that then you can take the code and be able to put that podcast episode on your website. And if you go to mySpeakandStandOut.com/speaker, you'll see how I've done this. It's like right underneath each of the topics.
And it's also available on your regular podcast.
Correct.
That's my question. Okay.
Correct. And I look at it as like, yes, my audience is coaches, consultants, service providers who are looking to leverage public speaking. I'm also just like walking my talk. I am promoting myself as a speaker. I'm not just a coach. And that's the important thing. I want you all to make sure that your audience isn't sitting there thinking, oh, she's just a coach. I want them to also hear that you have this program, that you speak, that you even just doing little updates. Like I will talk about, like the next time I record a podcast, I'm going to talk about speaking for this podcast community and what some of the questions were that got asked of me afterwards during the Q&A session. Some of the, and I also did like a little bonus thing. This was an in-person thing. And I had a couple of people who are like, I want to speak, but I don't have the information. I don't have pictures of me speaking. And I'm just like, come here, get up here, hold the microphone. And I took a picture of them. There you go. There's your first picture of you speaking, so that he felt and she felt more comfortable having that speaker page now. It was like, gave him like one little boost of confidence. And I had been there the previous month, and I did that for the speaker last month too. Who else has a question? And it can be about today's topic, or it can be about anything about speaking. We still have some time before we go into networking.
Hi, Laurie. I have a question. Do you think there are going to be a lot of conference opportunities as we go into the summer for speaking, or do they kind of taper off?
It depends. And this is why, I love to, you've heard me say this so many times, Renee, we got to open the door to the conversation. We don't know. So I have been asking people, do you have meetings during the summer, or do you take the time off? And I am hearing a mixed bag of things. And this brings up a really good point, Renee. We're entering into a very interesting change in our economy. Mm-hmm. And as somebody who's been in the speaking world for 25 years, I've, made it through what I call 2 conference recessions. And those conference recessions impact speakers. So that's your conference industry. However, there's 250,000 associations. These associations are paid by members. So like their board of directors, essentially like also their members, they owe them meetings, they owe them education sessions. So this is a prime opportunity for you to be getting in front of, find your associations, find those associations that have your ideal clients in their audience, and be offering to speak for them. It's going to be a great time to get in front of those people, get in front of the ideal people. So because they're going to be looking for speakers. Yep. And the reason why I've been able to survive 2 of those conference recessions, and possibly my third, is because speaking is not the only source of revenue that I have. There have always been other ways that I have done this. I've always been a coach. So, me speaking, whether I was getting paid or showcasing, was always a way that I got clients. Right. You all have that opportunity to be doing that as well. And I think this is an excellent time to be stepping up and really just get in front of your ideal people.
Totally need to lean into that more. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a follow-up question on that. I didn't raise my hand, which felt uncomfortable, but do you reach out specifically like based on title, or to a new association where you don't know anyone? How do you pick who to reach out to?
I try to pick out to the person who sounds like they have the title of the person I need to be speaking to. Now, when in doubt, because sometimes it's hard to tell, I want you to reach out to the president.
Even the lay president, or like the CEO president?
You'll have to figure that out, because that could be different from association to association. That's why, like the pregnant pause. So trust your gut. If you have to send it to both, CC them both. If they like what they're hearing from you, which is why I say open the door to the conversation. Never say like, hey, book me, hire me. You just want to know what their process is for finding and booking speakers. You're starting that conversation. And a little bit of like, here's a couple of my well-received programs. And if they love what they just read, they're going to forward it right to the right person.
Great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Laurie-Ann, I have never considered myself a speaker. I've always used speaking as the best way for me to funnel and get clients. And when I do a good job identifying what my audience wants to hear, I can get 75 to 85% sign up from that presentation.
From, you mean your email or your close rate on your sales calls?
My close rate on the audience in the presentation that I'm making. Right. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So it's really, so for me, it's a marketing tool. It's not right. It's not what I do, but I love doing it. I just love it. My next life, I'm coming back just a speaker. That's it.
Very good. And it's a phenomenal marketing tool. That's how I said yes to my first speaking opportunity. For those of you who might know my story, I said yes by accident, essentially. People looked at me and said, you do the speaking. And I just went, uh-huh. And I was just like, what are you doing? Like, I don't speak. I'm not a speaker. I'm a shy girl. I'm the one who's in the back of the room trying to hide and take good notes and look like a studious student. And I ended up speaking. And people came up to me afterwards and said, do you have a website? Do you work with clients? Because these were things that I didn't even talk about. So it really will bring the right people towards you, and it will push away the people who should not be working with you. So seriously consider it if you haven't already, or getting out there a little bit more. Okay, we're going to go around the room and network. I want to know, just remember this is going on the podcast. So what's your name? If you have a podcast, please share your podcast, what you do, what you speak on, and where can people find you? Like, give us your website. And Renee, you've done this a couple of times with me. I will let you go first to set the tone. Keep it short, sweet, and concise, folks.
Well, I'm under 5'2" with heels, so I'm happy to keep it short and sweet, Laurie. Super. I am a speaker and I'm a life-changing speech coach. I speak on two things, mainly. My first talk is how to stop presenting and start connecting. And my second talk is writing or delivering a speech, ... It's all backwards. You can find more about me at stepintoyourvoice.com. And did I miss anything, Laurie?
That's great. That's great.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Renee. Gail.
Hi, everybody. I'm Gail Kraft. I do have a podcast, and it's called The Empowering Process. And the podcast is about people who are willing to talk about coming out of the spiritual closet and what it's like to live that way in these changing times.
And where can people find you?
At gailkraft.com.
Thank you much. Brenda.
Hi there. My name's Brenda Meller. I am your speaker friend who specializes in LinkedIn. Delighted to be here and to support you, Laurie-Ann. My podcast is called Enthusiastically Self-Employed. And on my podcast, I feature marketing, LinkedIn, and business tips, combination of talks just by me, and sometimes I bring on special guests as well. And you can find me at mellermarketing.com. That's M-E, mellermarketing.com, or on LinkedIn. Just be sure that you click on the More button, and you'll get the option to invite me to connect there.
Nice. Thank you very much. Karen.
Yes. Hello, everyone. So my name is Karen Gombo. I am a leadership coach for women who have been newly promoted. I have a podcast. It is called Promoted. Stop Doubting, Start Leading. And I love public speaking. And so I have two signature speeches. The first one is my keynote, which is around my life and how I became CEO and why I left. And the second one is all about visibility and networking, which is also my second favorite topic in leadership. And you can contact me at karengombault.com. It is spelled Gombault. It is French, and I live in France.
Carrie, nice. Thank you. Shannon, is it Shannon or Shannon? If you are available.
Hello, yes, and sorry, I'm having camera issues, and also, I am still in the process of building, so yeah, so
Okay.
narrowing down life story to extract all of those pieces and get clear.
Well, wonderful. I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you. Me too.
Julie.
Hi, I'm Julie Beckwith with Living on the Patio, and I help residents who do not have unlimited funds to transform their backyards. I don't have a podcast, but I have a blog, livingonthepatio.com, based on our experience during the pandemic to create an outdoor living space, and then thought to help like-minded homeowners by providing information, advice, and resources. I help them navigate their choices using a tool called A Guide to Creating an Outdoor Living Space. And if you're interested in doing that, to see how to transform an outdoor living space that works for you and your family and your budget, you can connect with me at livingonthepatio.com.
Thank you very much. Pam.
Hi, I'm Pam Lippett, and I own a company called the Hill Street Group. And if you look at my various posts, you'll learn why it's called the Hill Street Group. It's your little secret teaser. I have a podcast called Communication is an Art. It's just beginning, and so it'll be dropping weekly. I'm interviewing different people. I've always been in the communication space, interviewing different people on how different communication works based on their industry or where they sit. My signature talks are turning networking in connections into business relationships from hello to success. And I help people move from a pile of business cards to having thoughtful connections with people who are going to make a difference during their entire life and career. You can find me at hillstreetgroup.com or Pamela Lippett on LinkedIn. Just say you've heard me on this podcast.
Thank you. And Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy Feather. I'm a business and lifestyle strategist. So I empower coaches and course creators to improve their lives through tailored tech solutions and travel planning needs for their retreats and personal travel needs. My signature talks are on the fine art of strategic planning, as well as the tech audit trifecta, the 3 things you can do in your back office today to improve security and efficiency in your back office, and the benefits of an annual tech audit and what that will do for your business. So you can reach me at kfeathersolutionsllc.com or kathyfeather.com.
Thank you. You know, as each of you was introducing yourselves, because there's a lot of new faces here, I remember you emailing me, like after you got some sort of a lead magnet, you probably heard from me, because I'm the sort of person that if you took the time to email me and reply to one of my emails, I always want to be in a position where I reply back so that you don't feel like you're emailing a black hole. It's always me and not a bot or a team member. So it's really fun to meet you all. I'm glad that you were all here. I want you to do some awesome things this month, like whatever we talked about today. I hope that you've written down a few things that you're going to start doing or episodes that you're going to record. And next month, I want to do the other half of the presentation, which is I want to talk about like when you are speaking, how to be directing people to your podcast. What is to be able to use it as a call to action, because so many associations have been burned by somebody who came in to speak and turned it into an entire infomercial. And so that's why meeting planners will say, like, great, we're going to have you speak, but you can't promote yourselves and you can't promote your products. There's a way to do this without it sounding sleazy or too promote-y. That's a new word that I just invented right now. That's overly promotional and you're giving to the audience. So that's what I'm going to do next month. So you'll get an email in a couple of hours, inviting you to May's event. And I see some, there's a lot of new faces here. If you guys ever want a speaker breakthrough session, feel free to sign up for one of those. You've probably heard them on the Thursday episodes, and you can book your own at speakandstandout.com/SBS for speaker breakthrough session. So till next month or sooner, go be in demand.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Are you tired of hearing crickets on social media? Wondering where to get seen by the right people? Or frustrated with the growth of your business? Then the Speaker Breakthrough Session is just for you. During this free 20-minute discovery call, I'll help you recognize where you're leaving money and opportunity on the table. You'll walk away with tips and a strategy to leverage speaking opportunities to get positioned as the expert, visible to the right people, and monetize your expertise. Book your call at speakandstandout.com/SBS for Speaker Breakthrough Session.